Well, folks, this is Mike Kegley with Kedrick Prince. That half was something. Illini had 11 turnovers with 13 minutes left in the half, I believe. They had 6 fouls on Maryland and then decided not to go inside for a while. As far as I'm concerned, on both ends of the floor, the only guy who seems ready to play is Morez Johnson.
Mike,
Ed just went into witness protection program, folks.
Yeah, I'm going to fix that in a second. I'm in a different location right now. I'll fix it. Mike, they're getting punked. They're just getting abused. It's ugly. I mean, I don't know what else you can say about it. They just are. I'm upset about it. They look bad. They look like they're not ready to compete. They're getting just out hustled. They look like they don't want to be there. If that's the case, then why show up? I mean, it's just a bad look overall. I feel bad for the fans that went to watch this, the fans that are watching it. They're literally just getting punked right in the face, and they're taking it. And there's nothing Illinois team can do about it. I mean, 50-50 balls. Mike, I mean, they're not getting anything.
Except
nothing.
For Morez.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying. I mean, and he's kind of limited offensively, I guess, so to speak. So it's rough. I mean, this is not what I expected. You know, let's face it. I mean, there's 20 minutes left, but Maryland owns Illinois. I mean, we can pretend that they don't, but they do. Their athleticism is just unbelievable. You know, you get 2 fouls on Reese and Queen, and you can't take advantage of it. That's when you get an opportunity to close the gap. You know, so what does Willard do? Calls timeout, gets a couple of layups, and the lead increases.
Yeah, I gotta be frustrated. I was frustrated as well. Like I said, with around 13 minutes to go, Maryland had 6 fouls. The next foul puts Illinois in the bonus the whole time, and literally outside of Morez in the lane, they don't get anywhere near it. You have 2 fouls on the big guys, doesn't make any difference. I'm going to say something here, Ked. You probably will disagree with me, but the last few years with Zach Edey, I really never felt like Illinois had much of a chance of beating them. And with this iteration of the Maryland team, I don't think Illinois's got much chance of beating these guys. I think these guys are just set up perfectly to beat Illinois like a drum, and they are doing so. And Illinois just doesn't have the talented fighter to bring the fight to the rest of the team. And I just think, you know, Morez has that fight, but he as a freshman, he's just not good enough right now. They need a Terrence Shannon. They need somebody who's going to refuse to be beat. Not that you won't, you know, not that you can just beat this Maryland team, but they don't have the resolute nature that you need to fight against a team that's talented.
Mike, I'm going to tell you, I know you're running this podcast, but Seth Ehart is right. They don't have dogs. This team is talented, but when they run up against a team that is physical and athletic as Maryland, they're not going to do well. They're just not. This is just a weak – CJ is right. It's a finesse team. And if you take that away from them, they don't have it. There's a couple guys. I'm not going to say the entire team's like that, but, like, let's look at Ibisevic. You have 2 fouls, and for the love of whatever, it makes no sense to me. I don't care if he's a freshman. He's 21 years old. I mean, you know better. I mean, some of the fouls are it's ridiculous. They needed him to win. You know, last time he didn't play, they kind of started out that way, but then Maryland goes on a heater, and then you don't have anybody to stop him. The bench isn't doing anything. And I'm going to tell you, Will Riley has been, great, but he's a non-factor right now. And granted, Maryland's playing well. I'm not saying that they're not a better team, because obviously they are. But if you're not going to get anything from your big guys, and as far as like point production and scoring, and Trey White looks like he's trying to bring something to the table. But for the most part, Mike, I just don't see guys with that fight right now. Other than, I know you're mentioning Morez, but I think Colin Boswell is trying to give it a run for, as well. But right now, I just don't see this team having the energy to fight back, to get back in the game.
Yeah, like I said, I think in the end, it needs to I don't know. I guess last night when you allowed a relatively sedate Iowa team to score 96, probably should have given us more concern about running into this Maryland team. But again, I don't want to take anything away from Maryland. They're playing an excellent game. They're big, they're physical, and to be honest with you, they've hit every shot that they need to hit, including that one where somebody threw the ball and Morez had to try to get it, and Gillespie throws up a jump shot. You had the end of the shot clock layup by Gillespie. I mean, there have been several times where they've just made high pressure shots, the type that you really want a team to take, and they've hit nothing but the bottom of the net. And I do think ultimately this team is playing well, and this is just the type of team Illinois doesn't want to play in the tournament, because thankfully there's not a lot of teams that are built like Maryland.
Like, I don't want to be mean or just disrespectful, but I don't. People don't like to hear the word soft, but they just are right now. I'm sorry, I'm just not thoroughly impressed with what I'm seeing. I know that locker room right now, I would love to be in there. What's going on? Let's just take a look at this. They have given up 57 points in one half. The difference between last night and tonight, because, both teams can score. Illinois can't put in the ocean right now. You have one guy in double figures with KJ with 10 and Kylan, with 8. But I mentioned Will Riley. He has 3 points. He's 1 for 4. Visic, he's 1 for 3. And they need him. I mean, but they're just not getting anything. Trey White's trying. But when you look at Maryland, they're shooting 45% from the field and 57% from 3. Illinois is back to its normal ways. They're 3 for 14 and shooting 21%. Mike, I just don't. This is not if you're going to make a bracket and you're going to pick Illinois, you can pick with your heart or you can pick with your head. But if it was me, when I pick my brackets, I'm going to see what the teams are ahead of them. Because if I see a team that's athletic, a team that rebounds well, I'm not picking Illinois to win, because Illinois is just showing you 50-50 balls. Queen's taking the ball from people. Reese is taking the ball from people. Gillespie taking the ball. And it's with ease. I mean, it's like they just quit playing. And that's not what Illinois basketball is about. If you're going to get beat, don't come out here and give up 57 points in one half and not come back out here and compete second half. Because guess what? Julian Reese has typically owned Illinois. This game, he has 5 points, and that's it.
Well, and look, I mean, I do this. We told you several weeks ago, Ked, you guys got on us because you called them soft, because basically when they win, you say they're great, and when they lose, they're soft. Bottom line is Illinois is playing a team that is physically probably superior to them, and then they do. I think you've got to deal with the fact that Illinois' defense, early in the season, Ked and I and Brad talked. The one thing that this Illinois team doesn't have is lateral foot speed. And you can talk about soft or tough all you want, but if you're on a basketball court and every time somebody makes a step, they turn to the left or the right, they've got a half step on you, you're in big trouble. And Illinois does not have the lateral quickness on this team. And I think that was something that we heard from some of the exiting coaches last year, that this team, is going to have some challenges athletically. And Ked, I think part of the difference between last night and this and today is the fact that Iowa doesn't have the lateral speed either. So you didn't see some of those weaknesses exploited the way you're seeing Maryland do it right now.
Exactly. That's what we've known with Iowa. That's why I don't regret anything I said last night. They're a good offensive team, but they're not great defensively. And I have to give Maryland credit. Here's what Maryland is doing. They cut the head off of KJ and Visic, and they cut off Will Riley. Everybody else is getting what they typically get. Will Riley can't get to the basket. Colin Boswell is another one who's done really, really well in the two-man game. They've taken a lot of that away, and they've done that in one night. Now, I'm sure they have scouting reports for both teams, but I'm impressed because Maryland picked it up in one day, not knowing the fact that they could have been playing Iowa. So having said that, I just think it's really, really tough for Illinois right now because they dug themselves a hole. last night we were kind of critical. I mean, at least a lot of us were about KJ. I think a lot of his turnovers come over. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in the second half. He brings that ball down so low. I think every coach in the world has not figured it out. When he brings the ball down low, it's time to take it because he's losing and he's weak with it. Those are turnovers that you can't have, and especially right now, Mike, because in the second half, Illinois is going to make a run, but they have to figure this out.
Well, and look, the thing is they missed opportunities to get back into the game, and I'll be honest with you, I thought, look at that, the grandchild. I think they missed opportunities.
He's
and
upset.
the refs had him, gave Illinois a great opportunity. Again, 6 fouls on Maryland with 13 minutes to go, and Illinois didn't take the ball into the lane. 2 fouls on each of the big guys, and Illinois didn't take the ball into the lane. I mean, ultimately at that point, I think the refs had pretty good whistle if you're an Illinois fan. I look at what happened, and Illinois has got to be able to take advantage of some of that. And I don't think they are. Now, going back to KJ, the thing that kills me about KJ, Ked, is the amount of turnovers that happen between his shoulders. He gets the ball. When he's got the ball, he puts it right in front of players. And I'm telling you that the part at 6'6", and you run him off screens, he will be good at shooting the ball in the NBA. But I don't know how he's going to be able to put the ball on the ground at all. If he's got that, they're just going to take it from him. I mean, he could average 25 turnovers a game if he doesn't get lock down those handles.
Well, everybody's figured it out. I mean, they have. I mean, we've seen it all season. We really have, and I'm just disappointed because he, as a player, has not figured it out. This game is not – I'm not going to sit and just blame him. This is bigger than KJ right now. This is a team, right now that has no fight. They don't seem like I think they're afraid. I mean, some teams, let's look at it. We said Illinois kind of owns Iowa a little bit. There's some teams you play well, and right now, for some reason, Maryland has Illinois' number. And until Illinois can be tough and figure it out, that's what you missed last year. I mean, with this group right now, you see all the comments that are being said on this board. I mean, on this podcast, stay old, get old, be tougher. They'll make a run, but Maryland's not going to go anywhere. If they have a chance to blow Illinois out, they're going to do it, Mike.
Yeah. Now, good whistle, that's crazy. I'll defend that, Eric. I don't have a single problem. If you think the refs are the problem in this game, you need to wake up and smell the coffee. The problem isn't the refs. And Illinois had the opportunity. Again, 13 minutes left in the half. Illinois had 6 fouls called on Maryland, and they don't go inside. That's just low IQ ball. People have kind of talked about that. You have 2 fouls on Queen. You got 2 fouls on Reese, and you don't do anything about it. That's not the referee's fault. If you're going to sit there and think it's a referee issue, Jesus, wake up and smell the coffee. Illinois had every chance that they needed, and they still are down by 26. I mean, that's just. I don't know, man. If you're gonna say the bad whistle hurt Illinois, I don't have an argument for it. Ked, I don't know, Ked, how do you feel?
Not this time, and everybody knows I am the most negative person who covers with the journalism background about officials. I've even talked about it in tweet today. This is not why they're losing. They're getting their butts handled. If you can get Maryland's 2 best players on the bench with fouls
and do nothing with it, kid. Do absolutely nothing.
And the Visa, his fouls were legit. They were just weak fouls, but they were legit fouls. I mean, I can't. I'm the first one to say what's going on, but that's not their issue. You want to know what Illinois' issues are? Let's just break it down here again. 31% from the field, 21% from the free throw line, and they have. Is this correct? I mean, I know I'm 89 years old. Is it 11 turnovers to 0? Is that correct?
Yeah, it was 11 turnovers to 0.
That has nothing to do with officials at all. This is what the problem is. It's Illinois. I'm not going to be a homer and pretend that this is and blame. This is on them right now. There's no officiating in this world right now that's going to make me think that this is what cost them the game. They're just not tough enough right now, Mike. Sorry.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you. You're back to can't hit the broadside of a barn. And then when you look at it, points off of turnovers. 17-0. So that's horrible. And you know, the amazing thing is Illinois is actually 2 rebounds behind him. And I got to be honest with you, I think if Maryland really wanted to be mean, they would go out there and play some sort of junk zone and force Illinois to just shoot threes and win this thing by 60.
Well, I'm going to tell you, that's the mindset. This is people. It used to be, well, if you won a game 1-0, 2-0, doesn't matter. Now, the more you win by, the better it's going to be. And Illinois is not helping themselves with. You can lose, but you can't lose like this and expect your seed to stay the same.
Well, and the thing is, Ked, there was an opportunity here with a close game to, get up to a 6 seed and maybe stay there. But now, all those things about, well, Illinois, they were sick, they were injured. That's why they played poor. Well, any of those thoughts are now gone because there's no injuries. There's nothing to blame it on other than Maryland's just beating the snot out of you. So we were going to return. We will be back 25 minutes after the game. Illinois is going to go at it, and we'll see what they've got in the second half. Go Illini.